Everybody loves a good power struggle, and this town certainly has that. Two spring sports battling for supremacy over the small school of Manson, Washington for the love and appeal of the fans. One sport, baseball, the team has risen from the very bottom to its first playoff berth in 16 years. And track, a sport that has continuously dominated the league in overwhelming fashion and has still found ways to improve. We have a player from each team here to give their argument on why they think that their sport is better. Cody Fitzpatrick and Zoe Thomas. Manson baseball has undergone many disappointing years of baseball with bottom of the league performances and low ranking teams that promised higher results. Manson baseball has been to state 6 times, all of those times before the year of 2004. And clinched their first playoff berth in 16 years in 2019. The team is based strictly off playing with respect and courage, and you won't find a team that's working harder than Manson. They have 7 seniors graduating this year, but have high hopes on the... Okay. Manson baseball has undergone many disappointing years of baseball with bottom-of-the-league performances and low-ranking teams that promised higher results. Manson baseball has been to state 6 times, all those before the year of 2004, and clinched their first playoff berth in 16 years in 2019. The team is based strictly off of playing with respect and courage, and you won't find a team that's working harder than Manson. They have 7 seniors graduating this year, but have high hopes in the young players on this team being able to carry Manson baseball to another playoff run. Track has always been a strong point in Manson's athletic history, as almost every year they've had at least one individual go to state. It is one of the strongest teams in Manson's recent memory, and is only getting okay. Track has always been a strong point in Manson's athletic history, as almost every year they've had at least one individual go to state. It is one of the strongest teams in Manson's recent memory, and is only getting better with faster runners and stronger throwers coming up the ranks every year. We first introduced Cody Fitzpatrick. Cody has been in the Manson baseball program since his 8th grade year and gives more effort to perfecting his sport than almost anybody I know. He's seen this program sprout from the low point of the league to a playoff contender and knows what it's like to have spirit in baseball.
Baseball is a sport about self-triumph. It's a sport of hard work that ultimately pays off. Now, people who do track, they may put in the work, but the basis of everything that they do is based in the natural talent that they were born with. Baseball is the kind of sport where your skills are completely proportional to the amount of work you put in. How many hits you take off the tee, how many pitches you throw, or how many grounders you take. Which means it's really hard to be good at a sport. Now, I don't play baseball to have fun or goof around with my friends. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I play baseball to get better and conquer myself.
We now introduce Zoe Thomas. Zoe is a hard worker that puts everything on the line for her sport and will do anything to win. She's been a part of the high school track program both years of her high school career and hopes to be state bound in the next 2 years. Knowing her worth ethic. Oh my God! We now introduce Zoe Thomas. Zoe is a hard worker who has puts every... Oh my God, I can't freaking talk. We now introduce Zoe Thomas. Zoe is a hard worker who puts everything on the line for her sport and will do anything to win. She's been a part of the high school track program both years of her high school career and hopes to be state bound in the next 2 years. Knowing her work ethic, it's very possible. Zoe runs the 800 meter, 1600 meter, 3200 meter, and the girls 4x2.
I would have to say track is and isn't a team sport. It's not all black and white. It's a team sport in the sense that you are pushing each other and helping each other get to the absolute limit while cheering each other on. but at the same time, it's definitely an individual sport. You are the only one who can make sure that you don't have a bad race, that you will make it to state and districts. You aren't able to blame someone when you have a bad day or anything, which I definitely believe helps with your accountability. It really depends on how much you individually push yourself and how much you work in and out of the season, because that's the only way you're going to get better. And I believe that it really helps your environment become a better area for a high school sport, because you're not able to criticize someone and backtalk them, which helps you only to be there to cheer each other on.
Now, one of the main arguments for why baseball is better than track is because it's much more of a team sport. And baseball is not really as much of a team sport as, like, say, football or basketball, because you're not really, like, cooperating at the exact same time with, like, plays and that sort of thing. I mean, you're throwing across and getting double plays, that sort of thing. But it's a lot more about the time you put in practice and how you help other people to get better. Like, say you come down to the field and do soft toss in the cage, or you catch for someone who's pitching. It all comes down to the amount of time you put into practice, and it comes down to the support you give people in games, like advice in the game, telling them what the pitcher's throwing, that sort of thing. It's a lot of support from coaches, players, and people on the field, such as fans.
Now, track isn't just about running. You're not all gonna run long distance runs. There's different workouts depending on what you're gonna do. And the thing is, those workouts don't just benefit you in track. You're gonna end up, I guess, bettering yourself in sports like football, basketball, soccer, even baseball you have to run. And it's gonna help with all of those, because you're gonna be in the right mindset to believe that you're going to be able to run farther. And at the same time, it's going to help you at sports even where you don't run much. Like in volleyball, it's going to help you stay quick on your feet and be able to dive for the ball at the right time, because in track, we learn how to start from 0 miles per hour and go fast, and it helps so much.
Now, one of the things that I really like about baseball is we hardly ever do any conditioning. Most of practice is based on, like, hitting form or throwing form. Now, athletic ability does help in baseball, like if you're faster getting around the bases, or if you're faster catching a fly ball, that sort of thing. But it's not so based in that. It's so much more about form and how many reps you put in. Now, track is just a lot more running, or like working out if you're a field person. And I like doing baseball because then I don't have to run, and I don't like running because I'm not very athletic. But baseball is such a sport for everyone, because it doesn't really matter how tall you are, how big you are. As long as you can swing a bat and run, or catch a ball and throw it, then you can play baseball.
Now, a main argument most people have about track is that you have to be naturally gifted. And that's not true. I mean, if you aren't the fastest sprinter, that doesn't mean that you can't be a great long distance runner, and that you're not going to be able to throw well or even jump. There's so many different opportunities with track that it's not so one-sided. And something too, a lot of people will say that if you can't run, you should join baseball because you don't have to run. But even in baseball, you're running. And by doing track, it allows you to improve with that running.
One of the really cool things about baseball is the system of innings. The game means the game is never really over until it's over. So there's always the possibility of a comeback. It's really cool because all the way into the 7th inning, you can be constantly playing the game, and you never know what's going to happen. Now, track has no real official time restraint, except when it comes to getting from place to place really fast. But it's there's not really much at stake when you're playing a track and field event, because it's more about personal bests and each individual getting better than actually the team going to state. Every year, people send track to state, and it's kind of just so individual that it's not really a big accomplishment when a few people go to state. For the person it is, but not for the team as a whole.
I guess one of my favorite things about track is that everyone gets to participate. It's not where if you're the best, you are playing most of the time. Like in sports like baseball and softball, you have the best people playing and starting, and they get more playing time, which can end up a lot of times not being fair on the other players. But the thing is with track is that everyone has their own events, and so we all get to participate in those, and we're all able to consistently run them and get better by it without having to wait for playing time. We just get to try it right there and then.
Baseball is a constant mental struggle between you and yourself. It's all about overcoming reflexes and getting rid of things that are holding you back. It's about staying down on a grounder when it's hit to you and taken off the chest, or turning into a pitch when it's thrown right at you. Hitting on the plate takes so much discipline. You have to be able to sit back and wait for a pitch or be able to hit a curveball. It's all such a mental sport that it's really interesting. When you're doing a play or getting a grounder during a game, all eyes are on you. Or when you're up to bat, everyone is watching you. So there's immense amounts of pressure, and baseball trains you to work great under pressure and be able to move on from mistakes really quickly, which is really important life skills.
See, for me personally, track has been such a great boost in my confidence. It has helped me believe that I can accomplish things that I never thought I'd be able to. And for example, my 800 time from the beginning of the season was pretty bad. It was in 3 minutes, and by the end of the season I had improved by 27 seconds. It helps me believe that when I set my mind to anything, you're able to accomplish it, and I definitely believe that track is a great way to accomplish that, because it's just you completing it, so you know that you're not being carried and you know that you can accomplish it. Now, don't get me wrong, baseball is a great sport, and I understand that some people really like it, but track is for everyone. They have events going from running to throwing, which fits everyone's needs, as well as you're more involved and you're able to build your self-accountability. It also is able to help you get in the right mentality, so you're able to stay in shape and be able to go into other seasons strong.
Overall, baseball is a lot of fun, and I love the sport. It's a lot more of a family, and it's a really inclusive sport. Thank you to Miss Sorensen for letting us use her computer and teaching us how to use iMovie. And thank you to Mr. Thomas for letting us use his camera.